What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Living in Arizona, and today we are going to talk about insurance in Arizona. So this comes as a matter of a question from Sue Welsh, who asked this question, and that's what we're going to address in this live feed. If you guys enjoy conversations like this, Q&As, live feeds, or just are moving to Arizona or already live here, do smash up the likes and subscribe to this channel. All right, so the question is, we really like your channel. It's filled with good information. Thank you, Sue. Thank you so much. Okay. I was wondering if you could do a video on healthcare costs or insurance in general, auto, home, health, etc. We are moving to Phoenix in October 2019 for my husband's work and have questions about types, costs, and good companies. So that's what we're going to talk about in this live stream, and then I'm going to open it up to comments. Good evening, Michelle, and a commenter. Good evening. All right, so let's go ahead and dial this in. So the types of insurance that Dave Ramsey, so if you guys know Dave Ramsey, then this list will make sense to you. So this is what Dave Ramsey recommends. Okay, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, umbrella policy, health insurance, long-term disability insurance, term life insurance, long-term care insurance, and identity theft protection insurance. That's 8. I personally only have about 3 of those. Yeah. Okay. So everyone's going to have a different situation and what they're going to need and, how this is going to dial in. But the most common one is going to be auto insurance. So you obviously have a choice between full coverage or liability. I just recently talked to someone who was driving down the US 60. That's a freeway here in Arizona. And they said that she said she was going about 55 miles an hour and a car hit her from behind. And then they both lost control and she ended up totaling her car. And she just remembers the front of her car being hit. The thing was, she didn't have full coverage insurance. She had just liability. So driving in Arizona can be a little bit of a pain in the butt if you don't have full coverage insurance. So it may be something you should consider. Yeah, he commenter says 55 is too slow on Arizona freeways. It really is. I mean, 70 is like the norm, right? But it is 4 to 5 lanes, right? I mean, yeah. Anyways, so it might be worth it to get the full coverage, but now she's in a situation where she has to wait, hoping that the other person has full coverage insurance or insurance in general on their policy, because if it's an uninsured motorist, she's basically out of luck with that. So we have 10 people watching and 3 people crushed up the likes. Thank you to everyone who crushed up the likes. And so some of the things that you need to know about auto insurance in Arizona that's kind of common. I believe we're a no fault state. So what that means is if you're driving down the road and a rock flies up from a semi and it cracks your windshield, if you have windshield insurance, you can get your windshield replaced for free. And so that's kind of a business in Arizona, is selling auto glass. Auto glass is it used to be a real big business. I think it still is. So, windshield insurance is probably recommended because of the amount of construction and the trucks that kick up big rocks. So some of the more affordable good companies, you're going to have State Farm, Allstate, Esurance, right? American Family Insurance, Geico. Those are some of the better ones. And then if you're former military or you have access to that, you can use USAA. I use USAA. I use USAA for a couple things. But, I've heard that maybe I could do better price for USAA, but I just like USAA because I know they're reliable and pretty good if you're a military member. So you get, minimum required auto insurance in Arizona is $15,000 for bodily injury liability per person, $30,000 bodily injury liability per accident, and $10,000 property damage limit liability per accident. That's the minimum. Okay. You have cheapest options for good drivers, State Farm. Okay. That's coming off this website called NerdWallet. I mean, I haven't had all these insurance companies, so I can only use the data on the internet, right? Drivers with poor credit, check out Geico. Drivers with one at-fault crash. So if you've been in an at-fault crash, you might want to check out State Farm. By the way, the Arizona Cardinals Stadium is called State Farm Stadium. Low mileage drivers. If you don't drive a lot, State Farm. Minimum coverage, go to Geico. Cheap for military families, USA. We already talked about that. And so if you're someone who just wants the bare minimum, just cheapest insurance you can get, there's a couple companies. One's called Freedom National, less than $700 per year. I mean, how much would that come out to per month, right? I mean, just under or just over $50 a month. I guess that's okay. Then they have another one that's a little bit more, but it's same kind of deal, auto owners. And then you have places like Titan Insurance, Progressive, Allied, and the list goes on. Okay, so the next type of insurance that you're going to have is going to be Arizona healthcare resources, right? So how to get healthcare in Arizona, it's a big deal. I mean, you have some statistics that I can give you. Total Arizona HMO enrollment, 2,012,000. Average Arizona hospital cost per inpatient day, around just under $2,500 per day. That's just to be a patient. So that's a really expensive hospital visit. So if you don't need to go to the hospital and you don't have insurance, maybe, just remember it's going to be a really expensive hospital or hotel stay. It's an expensive hotel, right? But then again, if it's a life-threatening injury, you probably have to be there no matter what. Total Arizona people who are uninsured, 12% of the population. 12% of Arizona is uninsured. Average annual employee premium in Arizona, employer-sponsored plan, after employer contribution, $1,283. That's annually. So another thing to know about health insurance, some companies that you can take a look at. There's one called Assurant Healthcare Insurance. They're headquartered in Milwaukee. A lot of these are going to be universal healthcare options, but you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, Celtic, Cigna, the IHC Group, HealthNet. If you want this list of Arizona health insurance companies, go to gohealthinsurance.com. All right, so I'm going to look at some of these comments. I want to go to ASU at the Polytechnic campus. Are there any good apartments in the Phoenix Mesa Gateway airport area? Okay, I'll answer that question after I finish the healthcare discussion. But thank you, Royal Pilot. Yeah, just remind me if I forget. And then there's homeowners insurance. You really need this. I use Travelers, but you can use Liberty Mutual, Allstate, State Farm, Farmers, American Family, USAA. Monthly payments, for example, with State Farm, $66 a month for insurance. That's homeowners insurance. Allstate's about the same. Annual estimated discounts. They say you'll save a little bit more with Allstate in total coverage, but overall discount, right? Property coverage. State Farm's going to give you $200,000 in property coverage. Allstate's going to give you $170,000. Personal liability coverage, though, $100,000 with State Farm, $170,000 with Allstate. Deductible, $2,000 with State Farm, $1,000 with Allstate. By the way, I'm not being sponsored by any of these companies. I'm reading data off reviews.com. They say the best overall, according to this, with consumer reader scores is, who is it? All right, I see State Farm has A++, but that's for best financial strength rating. Okay, Consumer Report. So if you want what the consumers say, they say Liberty Mutual. But JD Power gives them a 3 out of 5, where they give State Farm a 4 out of 5. So I have Travelers insurance, and I would say it's pretty good for my homeowners. I used to use USA. I thought they were pretty good too, but Travelers has been pretty good price, and it's lumped in there with my mortgage. Yes, I already mentioned USA, Sean David, and it's a good company. I've used them before, military. So 9 people have liked the video. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video. And now we will talk about the healthcare or the health insurance or homeowners insurance, right? So we'll talk about homeowners insurance type of coverage that you'll need for your home, right? So what type of homeowners you're going to have to take into consideration for homeowners insurance? Fire, flood, maybe even personal liability. Those are some things that can happen out here. Floods don't happen too bad like they do in, Texas or low-lying coastal flood areas like New Orleans or something like that. But, you get your occasional floods. Tonight, we just had a monsoon. I was out back for the monsoon. It was nice rain. I mean, it's been raining off and on for the last 2 hours. So for those of you who like monsoons, we had one tonight. Actually, where I live, Queen Creek, Santan Valley area, we got less monsoon than what we saw, what I was seeing on Instagram, for example, in Mesa. Mesa got dumped on. Apache Junction got dumped on. The brunt of this storm was north from Apache Junction to Mesa. And I mean, they got video of absolute torrential downpours. So maybe there was some flooding there. You guys can also join our group where people were posting videos. I just posted a link right there. Living in Arizona is our group. A commenter says, very weak monsoon. Yes, it was a very weak monsoon. Over in Santan Valley, it was. All right. So about the comment from Royal Pilot 116, he says he wants to go to ASU and he wants to attend Polytechnic campus. So in that area, Mesa Gateway Airport, let me take a look. I've gone over there. There's a lot of construction taking place. So Mesa Gateway is going to be close to one of the up and coming neighborhoods in all of Phoenix Metro called Eastmark. And there's ones just south of that Eastmark called Cadence. And I believe inside there, they're going to have condominiums and apartment units in both of those communities. And I think some of them are already built. So the benefit of you going to Polytechnic, Arizona State University Polytechnic right now is some of those apartments in that area are going to be brand new. So check out Eastmark, Cadence if you want the new stuff. Some of the more established stuff you can find around there. There's going to be the gardens, condominiums. I mean, condominiums are going to be a little bit more than apartments, right? So let's take a look and see if we got apartments. Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, there's Edge at Lions Gate. So Lions Gate Apartments, Williams Gateway Apartments, Painted Trails, Power Ranch. I don't see why they would build a university campus and not put any apartments. So I'd imagine there's some pretty good ones around there. But from what I'm seeing, they all have pools, all of them. I mean, the trails at Santan doesn't show a picture of their pool, but all of their highlighted pictures are of definitely their pools. Insurance info, great timing. Just bought a home here. Yeah, if you when you buy a house, you get your homeowners insurance lumped in with your mortgage typically. I thought the HOA was lumped into that, but it's not. And it goes into what's called an escrow account, and they pay it. I think they pay it. Is it semi-annually or biannually? I don't know. I don't know the exact pay schedule on there because I just did a refinance on my loan. Melton John says, Arizona is flooding with people, isn't it? Yeah. There is a lot of people in Arizona right now. And we just posted that picture to our group, Living in Arizona, which I just posted a link to. You guys can see it there. But it was about Austin, Texas. So I'm drawing the parallel here, of the correlation. In Palo Alto, California, you get a home like this, just a regular old home, okay, maybe a little bit better built, I guess you could say, for $2.4 million. Just putting it in perspective, this house right here, just under $300,000 in Phoenix. So, I mean, and I think I probably even have a little bit bigger yard, but, not every house out here is going to have a big yard for that price. But I specifically asked for that. Hey, what's the lot with the biggest yard? And they said, well, the biggest one's already been taken, but we have the second biggest one available. Okay, fine. So they've got this situation going on where Californians are moving here. As you know, California's got over 30 million people. And so a lot of people are being priced out of California because it's too stressful to keep up for the average person. If you just work a regular job, say you're make $65,000 a year, you would think that's a great salary. But in California, you're kind of just barely getting by on $65,000 a year. So people are saying, okay, this used to be paradise. It's not worth it anymore. So where can I move? So they might move to Austin, Texas. So 2.4 million in Austin, Texas gets you a mansion. And just to put it into perspective, in Scottsdale, we did that picture on my brother's realty page. 1.4 million gets you a mansion in Scottsdale. So you're getting a home like this in Palo Alto for $1 million more than a mansion in Scottsdale. No wonder why people are moving here. I mean, it's kind of happening. So, and it's you have to. It's crazy because a lot of people are from Arizona are saying there was a recent meme. By the way, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying this is what Arizona people say, right? Like they tell me to say this. I don't have a problem with anyone. I want to go travel to California and go chill out maybe in Big Sur or something like that. Go up to Northern California and just hang out. It's relaxing up there. So I mean, who am I? I'm not going to go start no state war with California. But people in Arizona are saying don't Californianize Arizona. So the conversation keeps going on. Zonies, if you want to call them that, people from Arizona, they're just like, hey, if you're from Arizona, if you're from California, don't do what you did to California here. And I mean, you'd have to ask them what they mean. But like I said, I don't have an interest personally in having any problems with people from California or people from anywhere, whether you be from Chicago or Mexico or who knows, Costa Rica, Brazil. I've met people from Netherlands here. I've met people from Germany here. I mean, we all come from all around, right? It's crazy because these people who are saying don't turn Arizona into California, if you look at their Facebook profile, it'll tell you where they live. It'll say like, oh, Phoenix, Arizona, originally from Michigan, originally from Chicago, originally from New York. So a lot of these aren't even indigenous locals or people who are from here that are kind of making a joke about California. So, yeah, I don't want to make too much about politics, so I'm not going to mention too much about that. As someone who just moved from California to Arizona, don't Californianize Arizona is hilarious, says Adam. Adam, I'm sure you'll get along just fine with the people in Arizona if you can make light of the situation and find the funniness in it. I'm sure that's all you got to do is just laugh it off with the person who says it, and they'll probably say, "Oh, don't worry, brother. We're all good." That's what they're trying to say. I guess. I mean, I would say that if you got a sense of humor, you should laugh it off and not take offense to it because it's really just kind of a joke anyway, I think. And we got 40 people watching and 18 likes. So thank you to everyone who liked the video. Arizona is turning blue. I mean, yeah, it's politics talk. We'll leave it out of this one. I moved from Minnesota on Saturday, moved in 115-degree heat. Well, yeah, Saturday was 115 degrees. Today, not so bad. I mean, tomorrow we're supposed to have a high of 97. And what a lot of people in Arizona, if you talk to them during the summertime, like last night, it was, maybe 105 degrees all day and probably even 102 in the evening. I was outside. It was perfect. At 102 degrees, I was like, this is really good weather. Like I thought I found 102 degrees with low humidity would be pretty good weather. Now tomorrow, because it rained today, it'll be in the morning, it'll be pretty muggy. So it'll be 102 degrees and muggy, which wouldn't be as good as 102 degrees and dry. So the humidity from the monsoon does add a little bit to it. Let's see. They claim every year we are okay. I'm looking at some of the non-political comments. Remember, this was originally about insurance. I can see some people are discussing the politics, which is fine. I mean, for you guys, but not for our audience. Most people will get put off by that. In fact, it causes me a headache with all the stuff that I see on Twitter. I like Twitter, but man, you get on Twitter and all of a sudden you just get barraged with all these things that Twitter's trying to show me about politics. All right, Michael, thank you. You said something non-political. All right, he said 115, but it was dry. I can handle this. Loving it. But when the sun goes down, I'm watching the beautiful sunsets. Beautiful sunsets for sure. I mean, we've had some incredible colors, just variations too. Not always the same. It's not always bright orange. It's not always bright purple and orange. It's not always red. It just changes colors and it looks pretty good. So yeah, the sunsets are definitely I'd say if you can get sunset and monsoon after a hard day's work and hot heat in Arizona, that's a win for me. That's the Arizona life that I like. I don't mind the warm day. Cap it off with a monsoon and a nice sunset, and we're good to go. Like right now, I just want to go outside and relax. I mean, I have couch outside now, thankfully. I'll just go out there and sit and chill out, and the rain and the lightning will be popping off around me. I drank a cup of coffee a little earlier, and I found that to be pretty relaxing. My dog's out there, and my cat's an indoor cat, so he can't go out there. So he sits at the window and watches the lightning too, I guess. Can you say your 2 cents on Red Rock? Nice new houses, anything else? Are you talking Red Rock? You're talking Red Rock where? In Red Rock in Sedona or Red Rock in Mesa? I mean, Red Rock's a common word. So if there's a neighborhood called Red Rock, I haven't heard of it yet. But Sedona is known as Red Rocks. There's a community called Red Rock just south of Picacho Peak. But if there's a community in Arizona now being called Red Rock, you let me know. North of Marana? Oh, okay. So you're asking me what I think of Marana? I mean, Marana is basically, I would say I've never lived in Marana, but I mean, it's north of Oro Valley. It's north of Tucson. It's in the suburbs. It is close to a place which doesn't have a very good reputation known as Eloy. But to say that Marana and Eloy are the same would be inaccurate. It's built along a river, a dried up river. I can't remember the name of the river. But it's mostly a fertile crops. And, there was crops there before Marana. So it's like an old farming town. And it's kind of popular. It's getting more and more popular, but it's just off the I-10. It's probably similar. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's like Oro Valley. If you're really wanting the views, you won't get that in Marana like you would get in Oro Valley. Now, if I could compare Marana to any town or city in Arizona, I would say it's probably similar to, or in Phoenix, it's probably similar to Anthem. But Anthem would be more of a master plan community, whereas Marana, like Rancho Marana and stuff like that, even this new community that you're talking about called Red Rock, won't be as well thought out as a place like Anthem. But it kind of reminds me of Anthem because it's north of Tucson. It's its own little community. So that's how I feel about Marana, which is north of Tucson. Casa Grande is up and coming. People keep saying Casa Grande's up and coming, and they're talking about this Dreamport Village. And every time I check on the updates for Dreamport Village, so here's the way we're going to put the Casa Grande thing. They're supposed to build the Arizona's version of a Disneyland, an indoor water park, which is good because what do water parks have to do during the winter? They shut down because most people don't want to freeze when they're because Arizona gets cold, right? So an indoor water park is going to be an outstanding thing because it's year round. All they got to do is just build that roof and put a super water park in there. Then they said an indoor amusement park. Another great thing. Assuming they build a big enough indoor amusement park, people will go there. And I don't hate to say this, but I hesitate to say this, but Casa Grande's future depends a lot on whether or not this Dreamport Village Disneyland type resort gets built. I mean, it's kind of like what you had in Valencia when they built Six Flags, or what happened with Anaheim. My grandpa, who used to live in Los Angeles, told me that Anaheim used to be the armpit of Los Angeles. People, you would say Anaheim, it'd be like saying Buckeye. Well, Buckeye still kind of, Buckeye, I would say, has been the armpit of Phoenix, considered by most Phoenicians. It's getting better and it's pretty nice. It's a nice area, but it is what it is. It's not the most sought after area, but Casa Grande's kind of in that same kind of area, but it's not even considered Phoenix Metro because it's so far out of Phoenix Metro. Like, back in the 90s when we would drive through Casa Grande, it was almost considered halfway to Tucson. Now it's like South Phoenix is approaching about to merge with Casa Grande. So I think that Casa Grande's future is going to be extremely dependent upon whether or not this Dreamport Village gets built. 2017, in about August, they said they were in the final steps of closing the investors. Then they said something early 2019 about Dreamport Village. And every time I try to check on an update, it's like, how many years is it going to take for them to close on it? And then how many years is it going to take once they get, so then they get the funding. How long is it going to take to complete the construction? They said 5 to 10 years. So, I mean, Casa Grande, right now, if you're living in Casa Grande, you're still 5 to 10 years away from it being really that amazing. And if you're one of those types of people who gets bored easy, do not go to Casa Grande because you're 5 to 10 years away from anything really being too interesting. Oh, yeah. I mean, there was also that Lucid Motors, which is Tesla Motors competition. They were supposed to build some electric car company out there in that area, and that hasn't been built. So yeah, you have some industrial stuff to go along with the recreational and maybe even some commercial to go along with the residential. And if all that happens, Casa Grande 5 to 10 years will be pretty good. But right now, go on Facebook and search Casa Grande groups and see if you can join a Casa Grande group and just say, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Casa Grande. What are the pros and cons of Casa Grande? And they'll tell you. Get it from a local. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it, but I still think Casa Grande's 5 to 10 years away. And it's hotter than most places too. Like the hottest place I remember probably driving through would be like Picacho Peak. And if you look at Picacho Peak, it's smack dab in the middle between Tucson and Phoenix. It's this big peak off to the right when you're going south towards Tucson. And Picacho Peak right now, if you were to drive by there tomorrow at 3:00 p.m., you'll be like, dang, it's hot. If you just pull over, go to one of the pit stops, go stop and see how hot it is down there in Picacho Peak. That's right next to Casa Grande. Where's the floodplain areas I should avoid driving when we get some torrential rain? Cave Creek. Cave Creek, the whole area around Cave Creek is lots of floods. I mean, so if you look at North Phoenix, so north of Union Hills, some would say Beardsley or Union Hills or Bell Road, because there's a dike. It's called a dike, right? It runs along the northern part of Arizona or of Phoenix. And that dike is it's just on the other side, the south side of that dike is the canal, the Central Arizona Project. And so that other side is a floodplain. And they're really hesitant to build anything there. But all of that dike was built there because if those mountains far north, Elephant Butte, Black Mountain, those mountains just back there by Spur Cross, which is basically the face of a rim. There's a rim up there, northern Arizona, the rim. That's like the high country. I mean, it's heading towards Flagstaff, and right there is where water could come off. And if it did, that whole area is supposed to turn into a lake, which is near the Cave Creek Reservoir. So I would say Cave Creek is flooded. North of that area is flooded. And then, so let's see here. Greenway is not North Phoenix. Greenway is North Phoenix. Greenway is north of Cactus and south of Bell Road. Yeah, I mean, in any city limit, you get a torrential downpour, you're going to get, that's why you're going to get floods. You're going to get floods. I mean, every community is going to have these, those like lakes, they look like dried up lakes that are in every community. That's there for flood retention. And they build the culverts, everything's supposed to drain right into those lakes. And in the wintertime, those dried up looking lake things that have grass on them, they'll have sometimes 3, 4, 5 foot of water. And you'll see tadpoles in there, like around January, you check after a big rainstorm, there'll be tadpoles in there and who knows what else. Lizards. Would you recommend flood insurance no matter where you live in Arizona? No. I don't really think flood insurance is too important unless we get the great flood and Noah's coming back, But Watch. Now, it's kind of like one of those things, the Arizona rain dance, right? The Arizona rain dance is just go to the car wash and wash your car, because you go to the car wash and you wash your car, you're going to have you're going to have, it's going to rain. Like today, I almost washed my car. I'm so glad I didn't, because tonight it's raining. They joke around and they say that's the Arizona rain dance. How I wish I can go to Arizona. You can. I mean, it's great. It gets boring in the summertime because you get cabin fever and there's not too many places you can go that are outdoors when it's 115. They say that as long as it stays under 110 degrees, it's pretty tolerable. But you won't catch me out there hiking the Superstition Spring or Superstition Mountains at 2:00 in the afternoon on July 24th. Okay, you just won't. Maybe at 8:00 in the morning or 7:00 in the morning, but in that time I'm at the lake. But you can only go to the lake so many times before you're like, okay. And even swimming in the pool gets old, but a pool can make it a little bit more tolerable. Golfing, a sport that I really enjoy. Some of these golf courses you can golf, but just you got to be acclimated. Okay. My employer won't cover health insurance for the first 45 days. Can I go through the state to get in the meantime? Great question, Michael. That I do not know. I don't know. If anyone knows, they can help Michael answer that question. Summertime equals video games. If you play video games in Arizona and do anything in Arizona on the internet, you're going to love Arizona during the summer, because you're going to have cabin fever and you're going to be like, great, now I got an excuse to tell my mom or my wife or my girlfriend that's why I'm playing video games. Because when it's beautiful outside, 72 degrees and lovely, or whatever you want to call it, you're going to have guilt if you're inside on a day like that. And March, April, May, we get some pretty nice days like that. September, October, November, we get some pretty nice days like that. Heck, you even get them in January and December too. But in the summertime, if you love video games, there ain't nobody going to be able to argue with you if you're playing too much video games in the summertime, because it gets that hot. Is it worth renting a home versus renting an apartment? Renting a home? Yeah, it is. Let me think of a bad reason to rent a home opposed to an apartment. It could be just a little bit more. An apartment, you might pay $1,100 for a 3-bedroom, $1,200 for a 3-bedroom, depending on where you're at. It could be as high as $2,000 if it's in Scottsdale or something. You could find a 3-bedroom house and rent it for $2,000. So I don't really have any downsides to a home. I mean, anytime you can get a backyard, that's better. Maybe the only downside would be that you don't have a community pool. So if you're living in a house and your rent's $2,000 a month, which I think is a lot. Actually, you could probably rent a 3-bedroom house in Arizona pretty consistently for around $1,500, and even probably come with a pool. So I would say if you can get a home, if you can rent a house for $1,500 and it comes with a pool, and the owner of the house is responsible for the maintenance on the air conditioner and the maintenance on the pool, and they're even doing landscaping, oh my gosh, you're good to go. You're good to go, man. I would rent a house for sure. But then it comes down to renting or owning. What's better? Downside is paying for utilities in a bigger living space. Yes. My house is about 2,000 square feet. This month I'm looking at around probably $300 for my power. Before that, it was about 150. And if I look at some of the things that are sucking up most of my bill, it probably doubled because of the air conditioning use. So the air conditioner is one way that I probably spent a little bit more money. Chuck says it's better to own, less a month to own. Yeah, but if you're first moving out here, I don't recommend that you buy right away. I recommend maybe renting a house. Apartments, I think apartments are for kids, like people under 30. Kids, I say like younger people, right? Like 18 to 30. Yeah, I would say rent a house opposed to an apartment. Nice to have a house over apartment, car better protected from sun and garage. Oh, that's actually right. Renee says it's better to put your car indoors. We have 46 people watching and 30 up likes. So thank you, everyone. I always like seeing a lot of up likes, and you guys always give them to me. So thank you. I am going to be doing some traveling. I got plans next week to go to Cancun. I've got to go, believe it or not, I've got to go down there for work. So I'm going to be posting on Island Hopper TV, which is my other channel, my other YouTube channel, which some of you guys already know me from Island Hopper TV. And then that's my big channel. But yeah, I mean, I got a good deal to go down to. I'm staying at this place called the Mayan Palace. I went to Puerto Vallarta and I stayed at a Mayan Palace. Oh my gosh. I was like, man, this is probably the best resort I've ever stayed at. And by the way, if you're worried about going to Mexico, the thing about Mexico, if you're really worried about it, just stay at the resort so you won't have any problems. What you're going to get at a resort is a beautiful beach, great dining, great ambiance, nice pools. I mean, you literally, these resorts are like little mini cities. You don't even really have to leave the resort to have a good time. Now, if you do, go with a trusted travel tour company. You know, if you want to go to the cenotes, I want to go to cenotes, which is those underwater rivers and Xcaret, I think it's called. So first time down to Cancun, I'm pretty excited. The gangs are now going for work this week. I'll trade you. Oh, wait. The gangs are now going into resorts, so they are not safe. I think the gangs have always been supposedly doing that, but I've been to Mexico a couple times here recently, and even when it was really bad. And it's only bad if you go into bad areas. But I mean, yeah, the gangs are pretty bad in Phoenix, in case you didn't know. I mean, so I heard the gangs are pretty bad in Detroit, Los Angeles, New York City. So, I mean, it's what's up. What's up today? Yucatan or Baja? Ooh. I have not been to Yucatan, but I love the Baja. If you want some secret destinations in Baja, check out La Paz. They've got some beaches down there that are still under the radar, like underrated but beautiful, like some of the clearest water you'll ever see in the Baja next to La Paz. And another place you probably want to check out is called San Felipe. And then we obviously know about Puerto Penasco, Rocky Point, right? A lot of you guys all want to go to Rocky Point. And then you got a place called Guaymas. Go check out Guaymas. It's on the other side of the mainland of Mexico. So I've been to Puerto Vallarta. I haven't been to Mazatlan. I've stopped in through Guadalajara. I went to Mexico City. Mexico City is super crowded. I mean, Mexico City is, to me, more crowded and more populated than Tokyo. There's a couple cities where I would say you just get like really overwhelmed with people, and Hong Kong and Mexico City are probably among the most densely populated. I mean, I went to Shanghai. I didn't think there was too many people in Shanghai, but Shanghai is supposed to be one of the biggest cities in the world. And I was like, it's not very densely populated in Shanghai. What's up with Puerto Penasco? Puerto Penasco, I mean, you go to Choya Bay, JJ's Cantina, you know, you go down to the dunes, ride you get some off-road vehicles and ride the dunes. Just be careful. Go down to the farmers or the fisherman's wharf area, which is the fish market. And then at night, you know, you go to right on the other side of the mountain of the fishing market. They have like, you know, kind of like the spring breakers habitat, you know, the place that's spring break year round kind of thing. Also, you can catch a deep sea fishing tour right out of that harbor right next to Rocky Point. Pretty good. I mean, one time we went down there, we caught 75 fish in one outing. I mean, we were just, every time we were putting the fish in the thing, every time we were putting the line in the water, they were called flounders, caught a couple different varieties, and the water's pretty warm in Puerto Penasco. I mean, to say it's safe, I thought it's pretty safe. I mean, it's just like going to, I mean, it's like saying, is Thailand safe? I think Thailand's safe, but someone you might ask might say Thailand's not safe. You say, is Philippines safe? I've been to Thailand, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Philippines. Some people would say they're not safe, and I would say they're safe. So yeah, I think Puerto Penasco is pretty safe. I mean, don't do anything that, you know, you wouldn't do here, I would say. Like, probably not a good time to you know, test your luck. The Reconista. I don't know what the Reconista is, a commenter. Yeah, what Marcelino Avendano says, nowhere is safe. What do you mean nowhere is safe? You're saying just watch your six. Okay, just watch your back. Where and what any adult entertainment in Rocky Point? There's a ton of it. There's tons of adult entertainment in Rocky Point. Thank you, Renee. Yeah, have observational awareness when you're in Mexico, but then again, stay at the resorts, So anyways. Oh, everywhere, Marcelina's saying, everywhere you are, even in the United States. I mean, come on. It's good swimming there. Great swimming in Mexico. Or yeah, it's great swimming in Puerto Penasco. Like I said, the water's warm. I mean, I've never felt ocean water that warm. It's the Gulf. The Gulf just retains the heat. Best way to travel through a haboob. Should I just pull over and wait? Yeah. I mean, haboobs can be blackout. I mean, you ever driven in deep fog? I used to live in central San Joaquin Valley when I was in the Navy in California, and they used to get fog and low visibility fog at 11 o'clock at night. And I think it's worse than driving in fog. Nogales can be pretty risky. I mean, yeah, Mexico, I mean, if you don't want to, they say don't drive to Mexico. Okay. So, I mean, if you're really worried about it, don't drive to Mexico. Just fly. Stay at a credible resort that has above 4 stars. And, when you get to the resort, tell them that you really just want to stay safe and that's what's important. And they'll make some recommendations to you. But I mean, if you're scared to leave the United States, it's probably because the media has got you scared, but it's not as scary as it really is, or it really sounds. We got stopped in the road by bandits in Mexico coming back from Rocky Point at night, never went back. Yeah, I mean, okay, again, driving to Mexico at night, probably not a good idea. So if you're one of the people who likes to drive down there, I think my brother just went down to Rocky Point. He drove down there with his friend and his family. So they drove down there. I said, how was it? They said it was good. I mean, I've driven down to Rocky Point plenty of times, sometimes when I was 18. But yeah, I mean, driving at night, maybe not a good idea. Okay, anyway, we don't need to keep talking about all this stuff about how dangerous and stuff. Unless you guys really want to keep talking about how dangerous Mexico is. Do I need to make a video on this? We did many times and never had a problem until then. Oh, okay. Chuck's saying he went down to Rocky Point many times, never had a problem, and then all of a sudden a problem. So yeah, I mean, stay on. Don't let your guard down. That's what they're basically saying. And then state of Sonora is a level 3 travel advisory. Reconsider travel due to crime. Sonora is key location used by the international drug trade and human trafficking networks. Okay, that's what Jeff says. And anyway, so thank you to the people who've crushed up the like button. We've got 42 people watching and 41 likes. So that means most of you guys have already liked it. If you haven't, go ahead and like the video. Thank you. No In-N-Out burger in Mexico. I'm good. Okay, Sean's not going to Mexico because he can't get In-N-Out. Street tacos just aren't going to cut it. Adam Chavara says, depends on how lucky you are. There you go. And so, any other questions? I loved your pond in your yard there. Let's see here. So we've got a lot of people kind of sleeping here on this channel right now. So people are saying it's overrated in Mexico. How much did the spa cost? Spa cost about just under $30,000. And that included the travertine deck. Do coconuts migrate? Maybe. I would love to go to the Caribbean, but we'll see. What cool things are there to do around Flagstaff? Well, you could go to Meteor Crater. That's a cool thing. You could go to the top of San Francisco Peak, also known as Mount Humphreys. hiking, just hiking around the Coconino National Forest is pretty good. A lot of people go up there to golf because you can golf when it's 89 degrees in June, right? Or July. Some other cool things to do: go hang out down where NAU, the strip where all the Northern Arizona University has their like pubs and stuff. You'll know you're around that area when you look across the street and you see the Amtrak station. Thank you, Renee. Yeah, there's skiing in wintertime up in Snowbowl. So you're talking about Snowbowl. There's also in eastern Arizona, there's Sunrise, which is in the White Mountains, just past, you know, what's that area? Pine Top Lakes, or what am I? Pine Top Lakeside. Yeah. So it's called Sunrise. Oh, fake snow. Yeah, they've been known to put fake snow up there when the snow's not coming down, but it's still cold. They'll put some fake snow. They'll bring out the blowers. They used to do that in California too when they had the drought up in the Sierra Nevadas. Mount Lemmon is in Tucson, has a ski lodge. Yeah, but I mean, the one in Mount Lemmon is not one of the better ones. It's decent. It doesn't have very many slopes, I don't think. But Mount Lemmon is some of the best camping I've ever seen in Arizona is in Mount Lemmon. But then again, it's all depends on the terrain. I mean, I've had great camping all over Arizona. I mean, I've even camped in Canyon de Chelly in the Navajo Nation and thought that was pretty good. So, I mean, you guys hear that thunder? It's thundering right now, and the train's going by. Oh yeah, man. I was excited about getting a yard when I bought my house, I was excited about getting the yard with the blank slate because I just got back from traveling to Europe. I went through Greece, Spain, Italy. I went to Bali, which is not in Europe, it's in Asia. I went to even some of the Arabic places, but I got inspiration mostly from Bali, from Barcelona, maybe a little bit from Madrid, which is in Spain. It's hard to really do anything with Portugal. Portugal is great, though. I mean, it's good. But Italy is a good place to get some ideas. If you want to get some ideas if you're thinking about building something, go to Greece, Italy, and Spain and Bali. And you just, that's all you need as an architect, because you got all of it covered. I mean, the other benefit is just getting a yard that's already been built because it saves you a lot of money. So, I mean, yeah, it's fun to have fun, build your yard, but be ready to pay the money. And when you're building stuff, when you're a builder, you're going to be over budget. I mean, that's why most of these projects go over budget. A lot of people think, oh, they're over budget because they're just trying to make their pockets fat and pay their best friends and get them rich, and they're wasting our taxpayer money. But the reason the light rail goes over budget, the reason these rail projects go over budget, there's unexpected problems that come up. I'll just give you some examples of things that happened in my backyard when I was building it. So I said, run 220, because, I was building the spa. So I said, but this was before I built the spa. So I said, run 220. He ran it to halfway through my yard. Then I said, well, can you just lay the 220 all the way to the back wall, so I have 220 and I can fork off if I need to? Well, the guy, he's putting in my pond, and he's not an electrician. He cuts the ground. So now it shorts out every time, right? So I had to pay to have that. I had to pay extra to have a licensed and a real electrician come out and actually run 220 to the backyard correctly. Because that's the thing when you're with these handyman, right? Ask them what their first trade is, because some of them, if their first trade is carpentry and they're telling you they can do electric, I mean, you might be better off just trying to do the electric yourself and saving the money, because electric's one of those things. I mean, it's not to mention it's dangerous. Electric can be dangerous, especially when you're dealing with 220. Okay. Best water park. Best water park is, my sister told me that it was the one up by her house, which is what's it called? Hurricane Harbor. So it used to be Waterworld. It's up there in North Phoenix off I-17, Hurricane Harbor. I like Big Surf because it's got the wave. I think kids like the waves. I know my nephews, when I was showing them how to bodyboard, oh my gosh, they were loving it. He just, every time he saw the wave, he'd go, he would always point because the wave goes every 5 minutes. So I like Big Surf. It's got decent slides. Golfland has some decent slides, but Waterworld or now known Hurricane Harbor has taller slides. They have Kilimanjaro and stuff like that. So it'd be not. I would say Phoenix still needs better water parks. They've got good water parks, but they could really go for one that just puts them all to shame. I mean, and these water parks, there's so many people that go to these. I don't. If you build it, they will come. I think if they actually built a good one, they would even get more volume of traffic to a really good one. It might even be overpopulated. I think one of the reasons people don't go to these water parks as often is because they're only, they're third rate. They're not that great. What do you think about killing the light rail? I think it's a bad idea. I think light rail is an investment in the future because to just be completely dependent on the automobile, I don't like that future. I mean, I think we need rail solutions, and any alternative transportation is a good thing. Even if it costs a little bit of money to build it, it's an investment in the future. And I would say that they need to stop trying to cut corners on these rails and actually do them the most efficient way. They can learn from Hong Kong. They can learn from Singapore. They can learn from China. They can learn from Dubai and do it the correct way instead of always trying to cut corners. And one of the things that American cities deal with when they're dealing with rail is the types of people who frequent those rails. It's not, it scares away the working class and stuff like that. Because someone in a suit and tie who's getting ready to go work at Wells Fargo isn't going to ride the light rail when there's 16 other homeless people out there who are or drunk or on drugs. Because truth be told, call it what you want, but there's drunk and high people on those trains everywhere you go, whether they're talking to themselves or whatever. And so they need a separate compartment for people who are in business class. And I would say keep pushing for business class solutions for the people who can ride it and don't want to ride the car, but they need a faster rail solution, like what you would call a subway, even if it's above ground. I'm not saying bore holes under the ground through Phoenix, because that'd be one long tunnel to bore. But you can go on platforms, you can go up or above, or you can go, ground level, but it needs faster solutions. The light rail is just too slow. To go from Mesa all the way to downtown Phoenix just takes too long. It's not really worth it. Oh, solar? Some people say it's worth it to go solar. I mean, solar is good because when the power goes out, like in a storm like this monsoon can knock out your power. I've had my power go out twice in the last month, which is annoying because I got to reset all the clocks in my house, and my waterfall goes out, and I run the risk of getting my pond all murky because that hour or 2 hours of power's out can be enough to make my pond murky because there's no aeration. But it happened twice. Once because a car hit a power box. Okay, so a car, of all the places they hit the power box, the main power transmitter. And then the second one was because of the lightning strike. So if you have solar, I don't really see that happening to you. Power going out. Restaurant recommendations. What kind of restaurants? Do you like a good burger? You like Mexican food? Do you like steakhouse? What do you like? Should I build a BART type system like the Oakland Bay Area? Yeah, I mean, the Bay Area Rapid Transit, BART, right? The best metros that I've seen are not in the United States. China right now is building a high-speed rail all throughout their country. And what's happened is people have these settlements outside of the main. So these trains travel 320 miles an hour or 230 miles an hour. I don't know the exact speed. It's fast, right? And so in between, say, Phoenix and Tucson, now all of a sudden living in Oro Valley, if you got a train that goes 230 miles an hour, that train ride from Phoenix to Tucson was 3 stops along the way, maybe takes a half hour. You can easily live in Oro Valley and work in Phoenix. Right now, you try to live in Oro Valley and work in Phoenix, it's going to take a while to get down there because you got to drive 60 to 70 miles an hour. So in China, what they've got now is settlements along these high-speed rail tracks that allow people to be outside of the gridlock, outside of the big city, but work and do things safely inside the major city centers. So another thing about high-speed rail is people who drink. If you have a nice high-speed rail solution, assuming you're not drunk in public, belligerent, I mean, you're gonna drive, or you're gonna take the high-speed rail. I mean, it's safer, right? So something to consider. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Hey, thank you, Lisa, for the super chat. Should be like a paid service like Fast Track. No homeless or drugged out losers would pay for membership type system to get aboard. So you can't just completely say no homeless or no drugged out people allowed on the metro. But what you can do is you can classify it. So first class. So you have first class, second class, which is business class, and then you have third class, which is economy. And so they do it on airplanes. And why not do that on rail? And more business class people will ride the rail if it's fast, efficient, and safe. Because I'm just telling you, that's what most people don't want to ride the metro, because they're worried there's going to be people that are dangerous and on drugs and drunk. What do you think of Midview or full-time retirement? For Midview, I don't know where Midview is. Just use Uber. Uber is another alternative. You can use Uber. But no way weirdos pay for a monthly fee. Yeah, but you're saying but here's the thing. This is something to also keep in mind. So they don't pay to have staff running the this is kind of a deeper conversation, and we can go there right now if you want. But they don't have staff checking to see if you've got a ticket. It's kind of on the honor system. So people are riding the metro and they're not even purchasing the tickets, because they don't have like a thing where you put your, when you get on the bus, you got to tap your card. They don't really do that. You just get on the train. So people are riding the metro without tickets, and they don't really have anyone going up and down the aisles saying, hey, show me your card. And here's why. The demand in Phoenix hasn't been there to ride rail, because Phoenix has traditionally been such a automobile focused city that people haven't, that the idea of rail is still it's newly introduced, and it's not being considered efficient. So the only people really riding it are the people who are sleeping outside. Hey, thank you, Ted. Who's this guy? Cockroaches are not a huge problem. Delicious when breaded and deep fried. There you go. Meadview is by Lake Mead Gateway to the Grand Canyon Glass Walkway. Okay, that is more of a Las Vegas question. I know that area is Henderson or Boulder City, right? I don't know how far it is from Henderson or Boulder City, but that's more of a Vegas thing. What are my thoughts on Peoria? Peoria is nice. Peoria is good. It's a good place. I like Peoria. No, I know what you're saying. You're saying it's on the Arizona side of Vegas, but because it's so close to Vegas, Lake Mead is close to Vegas. It's closer to Vegas than even Flagstaff is to Lake Mead. So I would consider that more of a, even though it's Arizona side, we have another city just like that called Bullhead City, which is on the other side of Laughlin. So, oh, gas is about $2.79 right now. Oh yeah, I'll bet they'd find a lot of cockroaches in there. 54 people watching, 44 people liked. So thank you to everyone who's liked the video. And thanks for all these comments. We're getting a lot. I've got a lot. Thank you, Ted, for blocking that dude. It comes in. Where do these people come from? I don't know. I mean, how did he find my channel? Like, is he trying to move to Arizona? Is he like one of those hackers that's trying to move to Arizona or something? So let's see. Monsoon, June through September. Yeah. I mean, we're supposed to have what's called, so there's, if you look in the Pacific right now, there's a huge storm, like huge, like the whole, almost all, like the size of Mexico. It's barreling towards Hawaii. And every time you're in Hawaii, they have these big storms, just like, look like they're going to just wipe Hawaii right off the map. But Hawaii has a lot of volcanoes, but three that are really powerful volcanoes: Mauna Kea, Mauna Loa, and Haleakala. You might call, I mean, I could say Hawalai or Kohala, but the three big ones, what happens is when the hurricanes come in, those mountains have like barometric pressures and like pressures that force the storm away. So even though it's looking like it's locking into Hawaii, it's going to hit it direct on. Well, here's what happens. Not all of those not all of those hurricanes head towards Hawaii. So they start off Mexico in the Mexican Riviera, and some of them go north. So, you know, some of them will churn north, but north of Hawaii. Some of them will churn south of Hawaii. Some of them will go straight towards Hawaii. But some of those actually end up coming up this way. And last year we had two of those that turned into tropical storms that came up the Baja and dumped a lot of rain in September and even a little bit into October. Well, welcome, Deanna. If you haven't already joined our group, Deanna, you can. Here's a link. If you guys are new here and you want to join our group, there's a lot of you can answer or ask a lot of questions in there and learn a lot about Arizona from the members that are already in there. Thoughts on Tempe? Is it good to reside in for someone attending GCU or ASU in general? Yeah. Tempe is a good place, especially for young people. So this is probably the best place for young people to live, is Tempe in Phoenix Metro. Second would probably be Arcadia, Biltmore. Roosevelt Row in downtown is becoming a place. I see a lot of young people down in Roosevelt Row in downtown. And then another good place to hang out would be Scottsdale, if you got the money, around about, I don't know, south of Shea Boulevard, all the way down to Tempe. Yeah, no worries. You don't have to join us on Facebook or Twitter, but you can just chill here. The only reason that group is really good is because it's a way to communicate in a different medium, and it also allows you guys to ask questions of other people besides me. Because if you're just getting only information from me, it's kind of like, I mean, I'm going to give you the information and I'm going to keep giving you the information, but if you have other questions about, because I haven't lived everywhere in Arizona. I haven't lived in Fountain Hills. I haven't lived in Peoria. I haven't lived in, you know, some of these places. I've only lived in Cave Creek, Scottsdale, North Phoenix, and Queen Creek. Adam, you like the group? Yeah, man, we like hanging out with you. We like the fact that you're there, and you always provide great insight. Where's the closest neighborhood to Biltmore that is affordable? Make 100 to 130K, so not rich. In Arizona, that's a lot of money, Mario. Hey, thanks, Yo Spades, man. Yeah, so you see, that would be a great question for you to ask in the group, but I'll answer that question. Anywhere. I mean, for $130,000, you're probably going to, your taxable income, you're taxed on $130,000. So you'd probably qualify for a loan, a home loan that could get you up towards $1 million. So if your price range would be in $1 million, I mean, anywhere in Phoenix, Phoenix is your oyster at this point. And if you want to live right there in Camelback, I mean, you might be a little bit priced out of Paradise Valley, but anywhere else, I mean, you can go and Biltmore, Arcadia, except for up the mountain. Like once you start climbing up the mountain where you got views, then you're looking at $2 to $3, $4, $5 million houses, maybe even more. Prescott Valley, good to go for semi-retired. Another place you could check out around Prescott Valley would be Cottonwood. Go check out Cottonwood if you want. You know, when you're looking for homes, you can check out Cottonwood. Cottonwood's Cornville. I would say Cornville is more of a, when I say a poor man's Sedona, I'm saying a poor man's Sedona in the sense that $1 million homes are in Sedona and $250,000 homes are in Cornville and Cottonwood, right? So, I mean, you're saving 1/4 the value, but it's still a really nice area. Like I would live in Cottonwood, I would live in Cornville. I would also love to live in Sedona, assuming that I had Mario's income. What do you think about $100,000 a year? You can live anywhere in Arizona. Yeah, Chuck Miller just answered it. You can live anywhere, where you want to live, man. Arizona's, have at it. Florence seems so cheap, but I worry it's a dead town and I might have to drive. I wouldn't move out to Florence. I would not move out to Florence. Go look at Gold Canyon because there's no freeway really out in Florence. So Gold Canyon's better than Florence for a lot of reasons, and it's got a freeway right next to it. So go look at that. Prescott seems too far out. Drove this morning from Gilbert to Las Vegas. So you drove from Gilbert to Vegas. That probably took you, what, 4 hours? Yeah, Gold Canyon. But have a Greek restaurant in Florence. Okay. You're going to go out to Florence because they got a Greek restaurant. I had pretty good Greek food. You know, what's funny about Greek food is, so you go to Greece. If any of you guys who watch my other channel, Island Hopper TV, I'll show you. I've gone to Greece. All the Greek islands, not all the Greek islands. There's a lot in the Aegean, but you go to Greece, right? Here, I'll give you a link to my channel. But when you're getting Greek food out here, you ask them for a souvlaki, and the restaurants out here, they don't even know what that means. I say, and you know, for whatever reason, they work in a Greek restaurant, and out here they don't serve souvlaki. But you look at any of the videos on my Island Hopper TV channel from Santorini, Mykonos, Paros, Naxos, even Athens. You'll be just walking down the road. What's it say on the sign? Souvlaki, souvlaki. So out here in Arizona, they don't know what souvlaki is. Now, why? I don't know. So just in case you don't know what souvlaki is, it's it's like a kebab kind of deal, consisting of small pieces of meat and sometimes vegetables on a skewer. But it's usually eaten while it's hot, and it has like hummus and stuff like that. And so, because to me, having been to Greece, not because I'm trying to be pompous or anything, but I'm going there because I'm like, great, I'll go to a Greek restaurant. It reminds me of Greece. I get to jog my memory and relive some of the memories that I had from there. So I'll be like, oh, souvlaki. And I'll be like, huh? But they know what a euro is. So if you like euros, you're good to go. Last quick question, says yo. Okay. Jeff, you have any future videos on Tempe up and coming where you more in depth on it? Thank you so much. So I've done a couple videos on Tempe. I don't know what kind of more in depth you want, but I can seek out to do it. But the two videos that we have that are really good are driving tours. One where I show the neighborhoods around Tempe, and the other one where I highlight Mill Avenue. So crossing Mill Avenue, crossing the Rio Salado lake, coming down Mill Avenue and coming into Tempe, and then walking around. You can search the channel here. Just go into the search on YouTube and type in Living in Arizona Tempe. What are your thoughts? All the new development near Gateway and Mesa, Cadence, Eastmark. I think it's great. I love it. I love it. A lot of people. See, I was born in Arizona, and so I was born in Phoenix. Uh, but you get a lot of people who are living in Arizona who say they think it's overpopulated and they hate it and they think it's bad and this and that. But even as a young kid, again, someone who grew up here, I always look forward to Phoenix becoming a prominent city around the world. I always took most of the people. I think most of the people born and raised in Arizona, not these people who moved to Arizona from Michigan and Chicago and then start, talking all this smack. Okay, and that's fine. You can move here and do that. That's fine. But I'm talking about people who are born and raised here, and I'm talking about the people that I know growing up. We always took pride in Phoenix being a prominent city. So like we would get the Super Bowl. That was a big deal for us. Like when IBM came here and they set up their headquarters, we were excited because that means that Phoenix was being put on the map. So but on the same token, people would be like, don't we don't like overpopulated. So it kind of came at a price, right? Like too many cars on the road, and a lot of people don't like driving. That's why I have this thing about alternative transportation like rail, because I do think that Phoenix is going to continue to grow, not just because I want it to, but because if you look at the America 2020 Pact, which is a government infrastructure of America plan, or it's called America 2050. Phoenix is one of 7 super mega regions in the country, or one of several mega regions in the country. They have the one in Cascadia, Bay Area. They have one in Atlanta area, New York, Philadelphia, that whole area. And then they have a super region, a mega region somewhere around the Great Lakes. But Phoenix and Tucson is considered a mega region, and the other one is like in Denver, where they have Colorado Springs and Denver. And there might be 1 or 2 that I missed on that list, but Los Angeles also. Phoenix is projected to be that. So if we're going to do it, might as well do it right. Don't cut corners and don't, be half cocked. If we're going to be a mega region, then let's do it correctly, and let's, be one of the finest cities on earth. And we have an opportunity to be one of the finest places on earth if we create that environment. If you don't like big cities, then don't move to Phoenix mega region. Move to Show Low. Move to Prescott Valley. Move out of the grid, because the grid is coming. The grid's going to expand. They're going to keep building it. And if you don't like the big congested big city life, Phoenix wouldn't be for you. Consider another place outside of Phoenix, or even on the fringe. Go to the fringe. Go to Black Canyon City. Go to Anthem. Outside of the big cities, the suburbs, the far north suburbs, Scottsdale, North Scottsdale. So I think what they're doing in Mesa is a great thing. I think the tech corridor is a great thing for Arizona. It's going to bring great jobs. Apple, Google, it's all good. Speed rail, LA to Las Vegas to Phoenix to Tucson. Okay, so you're saying, so Sick Mitch, that's a great comment that you made, because to build a rail system you're saying from Vegas to Los Angeles and Phoenix to Tucson. You're not saying go LA, Vegas, Vegas to Phoenix to Tucson. Or are you saying that? Because one of the reasons why building a rail that connects Phoenix and Los Angeles, or Phoenix and Las Vegas, there's a lot of mountains in between there. So we would have to basically call up our Swiss engineer best friends, right? Because the Swiss, you go to Switzerland, the first thing, I remember I made a video on my Island Hopper TV channel where I was like saying the Swiss love to bore holes in things. So Swiss, we would have to take some notes from the Swiss. They build a lot of rails up in the Alps, for real. Like, it's not an exaggeration. I don't know of any places in America that really build railroads or rail solutions through mountains. Sure, they did it. Remember Provo, Utah was considered like base camp for the railroad when they were trying to connect America from sea to shining sea, right? But to build a rail from Phoenix to Los Angeles, they would probably have to bore some holes, do some tunnels, do some uphill rail. But I think that's why they don't do it, because of the mountains. Whereas Vegas to LA, is pretty much flat right there through the Mojave, you know, going right through that area. It's pretty flat. But until you get to the San Andreas Mountains, which are north of Los Angeles. See you later, Renee. All the way, LA. It can be done, Chris. Oh, no, yes, all the way to LA. Okay, so you're saying build the rail, high-speed rail from Vegas, Los Angeles. They should do it. They should do it. But it's going to cost a lot of money. And the first thing that's going to come up is going to be the people on the opposition to the rail project saying, where's the tax money going to come from? You ain't going to get my tax money. You already taxed me more. And that's the opposition that's going to come up. And then the opposition is going to say, no one's going to ride it. So, yeah, no one's going to ride it if it sucks. If it's not, I mean, people ride trains. It's just people don't really like Amtrak because they haven't updated Amtrak for what? I mean, you get in an Amtrak train, there's nothing super about it. You get into a train in Italy because they have a train that goes from Naples to Milan. And in between, you can catch Rome to Florence, or you can go Rome to Milan, or you can go from Milan to Florence. You know, it's just the route, right? You can get off at any one of those stops. Oh, that's a beautiful train. It's called the Italiano train. It's a beauty. It's a bullet train. It's a high-speed train. They've got one in that goes from Barcelona or from Valencia to Madrid. That sucker is fast, really fast. China, you get into these high-speed bullet trains in China or Tokyo or Japan, and you're just like, it's almost fun to do. It's like you sit in these compartments, they're like literally so comfortable and luxurious. You know, and in China, $20 to sit in economy or to sit into business class and get one of these capsule kind of seats. And you're going 300 miles an hour. Why don't they do that in America? I mean, I'm like, I'd probably go to Los Angeles a whole lot more if it only took, because think about it. It takes 6 hours to drive to Los Angeles from Phoenix, right? Okay. 7 hours. You're going 75 miles an hour. Now, if you're going from Phoenix to Los Angeles on a bullet train that's going 230 miles an hour, how long is it going to take you? 1 to 2 hours to get to Los Angeles. I would probably go to Los Angeles a lot more, and I would take the train. And then if I needed a car, I just rent the car there because I'm going to go faster. And because people still fly to Los Angeles, but you know who else stands in the way? Airline lobbyists. Because guess who stands to lose from an efficient airline or an efficient rail system? The airlines. It's just like in Hawaii. They had this great ferry, and they tried to say that it was an environmental impact, right? But guess who stood in the way of it? The airlines. Because the Hawaiian Airlines was losing business because people were just taking the ferry to go to Oahu instead of flying from Maui to Oahu. They were just taking the ferry. So, it's killing the reefs. But every day they bring, how do you think the food gets in there? These big, heavy barges and these big vessels. So, I mean, it's not like they stopped bringing vessels. They still have a cruise ship called the Pride of America that goes all over Hawaii. But again, it's the lobbyists, the airlines that would be standing in the way. And they would just keep stoking the fire by telling people, you don't want your tax dollars going to it. No one will ride it. No one will ride it. But I agree with you. Rant over on rail for now. Where should I get groceries? AJ's Fine Foods, Trader Joe's. I like Safeway better than Fry's. See you later, Deanna. Yeah, George says he'd work in LA and live in Phoenix. I mean, if it took 2 hours, what if they made it 300 miles an hour? Like, how far away is Los Angeles from Phoenix? Let's see. We'll do the math here. How far is LA from Phoenix? 372 miles an hour. Okay, so let's just say they made that rail let's see, what's the fastest high-speed rail? What is the fastest high-speed rail? High-speed train. I mean, we're America. Why can't we have the fastest rail? Why does every other country on earth have to have the fastest everything and the better everything? Like, we don't even have the tallest building in the world anymore. We don't have the biggest anything. Like, I mean, what do we have that's American, standard, right? I mean, I guess some of you guys are like, oh, who cares about all that? Well, I mean, we can still do some cool stuff in America, can't we? So why not make the fastest train? The fastest train is the Shanghai Maglev. It goes 267 miles an hour. So China has like 3 of the fastest trains. The Italio is the one I was talking about from Naples to Milan. That goes 220. So if we got this train, let's just say we decided that we wanted to build the fastest train in the world, 270 miles an hour. Just 3 miles an hour faster than the one in Shanghai. It would take 1 hour and 45 minutes to get to Los Angeles by high-speed rail. Would you ride it? So there you go. Wow, 59 up likes, 50 people watching. Thank you. M. Israel, how would I describe Eloy? Hot. Nothing there. That's how I would describe Eloy. Hi, Jeff. I've noticed to discuss cities around Phoenix. Have you done a talk about Prescott or Prescott Valley living? Says Debbie. Yes, I have. If you search our channel and you type in Prescott, you will see. Also, there's a video about comparing northern Arizona and southern Arizona. So you can look up both of those videos. There's a lot of videos in our library. You just have to search. I don't know if you guys know how to search on the page, but basically where it is, it's going to be on below the header on the right-hand side. So basically just the top middle or the top right-hand side of the page, there's a search icon on the channel, and you just type in whatever you're looking for. But we've pretty much covered everything. And so sometimes I don't make another video about Prescott because I've already made a video about Prescott. But then sometimes I'm like, well, I've got new viewers and they probably are wondering. So it's probably due for a new video. So maybe I'm due for a new video on Prescott. Hey, Darlene. Hello. Why not bring the Italian and Chinese train designers here to design the tracks and trains? It's been done for bridges in Texas and Massachusetts. Yeah, I mean, you know who actually designs a lot of the Chinese? It was German engineers. So a lot of these designs, I was surprised to find out, are Germans. Even it's true. If you go to Germany, so what happens is the German engineers teach the Chinese, and then the Chinese learn, and then you don't need the Germans anymore. It's kind of like what the Chinese are doing with Apple. Like Apple built their phones in China, and now Huawei or whatever they're called, Huawei, they're about to be like passing Apple, and Apple's like, what happened here? We were the greatest cell phone company network on earth, and now Huawei is supposedly better than us. But that's what China does. So, but the Germans are the ones you would go to. Like I said, the Swiss, well before the Chinese, well before even the Italians, the Swiss were the ones building these beautiful railways through the Alps, boring these holes, the Swiss and the Germans. And so, yeah, I mean, you bring a couple Germans, that's who builds most of Dubai. Like you look at a lot of the amazing projects in Dubai, they're German, or not just German, but like Swedish and Norwegian, European. But yeah, we should bring a couple, or we could do it ourselves. You know, whatever happened to the Army Corps of Engineers building cool stuff. Okay, we got another troll. I'm in Apache Junction. Okay, Apache Junction. How was the rain tonight? The dirty knobs. It was the Germans that put us on the moon. Yeah, I mean, that's where America got rocket technology, was from the Germans after World War II. Oh, what I was going to say was when I went to Europe, I would be talking to people, and I'd be like, "Where are you from?" Germany. Oh, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm in uni, or I'm in school over here, or this and that. They speak like, oh, okay, what are you studying? Engineering. Like every German student, it seemed like I would talk to was studying engineering. It's like the thing. Like in America, what are kids going to school for these days? Social media. Like, what's your major? Social media. YouTube. I went to YouTube University. what's Sick Mitt saying? 1 hour commute to Phoenix, 200K home. Yeah. I don't know what trash can comment is, Ted. So anyways, we've been doing this for an hour and 24 minutes. Thanks to everyone who's been smashing up the likes. We got 60 or 59 likes, and I can keep going, or we can end it here. It is 10:30 at night in Arizona. I'd imagine some of you are on the East Coast. Maybe some of you are on the West Coast. Maybe some of you guys just like chilling. I mean, I can keep going. Oh yeah, man. Well, the people you kicked out because they were trolling. I mean, what? It's like the same person who just like logs out of one account and logs into another account, and they just start, they make these vulgar comments. All right, Adam, see you later, man. I'm probably going to jam out here soon too. Angel, from your experience living in both California and Arizona, how is the traffic around Phoenix? It's better in California. Except for rush hour, it gets pretty bad. But if you were to compare rush hour Los Angeles, rush hour San Francisco to rush hour Phoenix is not that bad. Where am I going? Are you talking about for traveling, or are you talking about tonight? It's 10:30. I would probably just go outside and enjoy the rain. Worst drivers in the valley are on the 101, says burning asphalt. He's pretty. Is it the I-10 or the 101? Which one gets worse? The 101 or the I-10? I mean, the I-10 from probably maybe 50th Avenue all the way to probably Ahwatukee. Pretty congested at rush hour. The 101 gets pretty congested going north at rush hour 5 p.m. Going north from basically from Tempe to Cactus, or Tempe to Shea. The 101 is really gridlock, stop and go. Let's see here. I-10 to the 202 is always bad. Yeah, it is. It is. Henry, I-10 to the 202 is, or George, that's what I wanted to hear. Thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, you can find surface streets that'll go pretty fast. Yeah, I've got someone who's coming out here to watch my house, so I'm going to be traveling, if that's what you're asking, Darlene. All right, so that'll about do it for this live stream. We've been going for an hour and 27 minutes, and that'll wrap it up, and we'll see you guys next time.